I like that commercial.
And good night. Welcome again to another in the series of our town hall. Tonight we have our special guest, Ms. Aria Lightfoot. Start tonight as usual with our prayer, and then I would like for you to introduce Aria to our listening or viewing audience. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight, and as your guidance, we ask that you preserve and protect Belize and Belizeans far and near. Help us to be a better people, not only with ourselves, but with our families and those in our communities. We ask and we seek your guidance in building Belize to be a better country. We ask also, Father, that those kids who have reached a new milestone in their school lives, that you bless them and you help them to gain another step in their future. Show them the way and let them know that they have become what Belize will be. Help them now with all the different all the challenges that they're facing in trying to further their education or trying to find work. Please, Father, help these kids from primary school, from high school, from sixth form, from universities. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Graduation season. I mean, it's a, it's a very strange graduation season this year. No prom, no pomp and circumstance. Yeah. It's something that most children look forward to. It's sad, really, and truly, what's going on, but it's necessary at this point, I imagine. Maybe necessary in some places, but I don't think so necessary in Belize because we don't have a case of COVID-19 here. Ladies and gentlemen, good night. Tonight, I am very pleased to first welcome back my co-host, Ms. Lennis Williams, whose absence was surely missed last week, but to welcome a daughter of Belmopan, a sister of the soil, Aria Rowland, Lightfoot.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank
Aria
you.
is, well, we go back for way back. so really and truly, it's wonderful to reconnect. Aria is a member of the Belizean Diaspora, Belizean through and through, and an original Belmopanese.
Yes.
Thank you, Arthur. Yes, we go way back from high school days. I guess you're a little bit older than me, but sixth form days when you made a run for president. Me, Georgia, a lot of your campaign team, remember that?
Yes, I remember. Successful team, I might add.
Right.
Very successful team.
It was an easy campaign though, because everybody, we were like, are you voting for Arthur? And they were like, yes. And that was it. So it was good times.
It certainly was. Aria, we are here tonight to discuss, I believe, one of the most important issues affecting our development as an independent nation here in Belize. That being the proper place for Belizeans in the diaspora. And I stress the word Belizeans because it seems to me that the impression that many have when they attain authority is to view Belizeans abroad as being less than Belizean. I want to have your take on it because you, having been born and raised, educated in Belize, and now seeking to better yourself by furthering your education abroad and then finding your professional footing abroad, give me your perception on this first, and then we'll go into the meat of the topic as we proceed later.
So you're absolutely right. I grew up in Belize. I actually worked in Belize for 10 years before I actually left Belize. Um, and the narrative is that the diaspora has somewhat abandoned the country and that we are not deserving of equal rights with the Belizeans that are at home. And Belize is Belize and some Caribbean nations are very unique in how the world views their diaspora. And I'll use two prominent examples. The United States, for example, have about 30,000, some estimate as many as 50,000 Americans are living in Belize. And
Good.
when we say Americans, there's a lot of Belizeans whose children are Americans, who have children born in America and they're raising them in Belize also. All those Belizeans, all those Americans, when they leave the soil of the United States, their rights and constitution follow them abroad. The
Right.
country rights, your rights is still enshrined. You're still, that's why the country does, for example, as we saw with COVID-19, the US spent money to get their citizens back into the country because they know that it is their responsibility to take care of their citizens within the United States and without the United States.
Right.
Why is the diaspora important? I'll use a perfect example. The United States, probably beside China, the United States have the largest amount of diaspora members living among the world population, which gives them a very powerful voice in other countries, give them access, they have the ability to negotiate and different things because their wings are spread wide. Belize, on the opposite end, has restricted its diaspora.
Yeah.
And let me just give you an example. We in Belize have given Guatemalans who claim Belize more rights than we've given our diaspora, which means that we have given Guatemala an extra hand in Belize and empowered Guatemala's diaspora because Guatemala have said they don't lose their citizenship. So now Guatemala has been empowered with diaspora members living in Belize, um, establishing businesses, establishing relationships within Belize, and they're still Guatemalans. Belize,
Right.
on the other hand, has cut off its diaspora, and so Belize's hand is one hand is cut off because you don't have that same level of, and even though Belizeans are very patriotic and they love Belize and everything, what you have done, you've weakened your position on a international scale by
Right.
limiting the impact of your own diaspora while you have empowered the country that claims the diaspora.
Well, listen, it's very the fact that you say that and you mention that, I think should not be lost on our audience because in the early part of Belize's development, when we were transitioning from British Honduras to independent Belize, it was the diaspora that played a very pivotal role in hosting George Price, Robert Leslie, and all these diplomats who were basically seeking to have the United Nations recognize Belize as a nation. So the diaspora played a very important role. Now, it seems to me that the relationship that the country has had with the diaspora is one of convenience, but it's a one-way relationship where only when it matters to us at home do we lean on the diaspora. And when the diaspora requires us to give them a modicum of recognition, they are shunned and turned away. What do you see as being necessary to reverse that trend, Aria?
Well, Arta, it's a very complicated because you mentioned a very important thing here, and I was listening to Mr. Fairweather, who gave a good history of the diaspora when they were organized around politics. They were organized with Golson, the Honorable Philip Golson, and they were able to do a lot of things. But what has happened because that the relationship has somewhat severed and it was never held in a cohesive relationship with the country, what has happened is that the diaspora is now splattered all over the world, and you don't know where your power points are. You don't know who are your power players within the world environment. You have Belizeans who are running for politics within the United States. Some of them have been successful. In one of my class, me and this guy became friends. His mother is Belizean, but he does not identify with Belize at all.
Right.
The only reason he identified with Belize at that moment was because he knew I was from Belize, and so he tied Belize into the relationship with us. Likewise, I went to a doctor here um, many years ago, and his father was from Belize. But he doesn't have a relationship with Belize. He said he's never visited Belize, but he knows his dad. It's almost like a nostalgic. My family is from Belize type stuff because there's nothing that tied him back within the country, and there are many examples of this where there are second generation Belizeans that are in very powerful positions, but we have decided to treat our diaspora much like we treat our citizens within Belize.
Yes.
It's based on privilege. It's based on how close you're tied to the government, or how well known you are, or how well liked you are. It's not based on a policy that's bigger than individuals, that has a purpose to connect dots so that Belize can further its position. Like right now with this ICJ issue, right now you want allies and you want strategic allies. You just don't want to hear from the people who are telling you what you want to hear. You want to hear a diversity of opinions. You want to be able to, hey, you know what? Belize probably can't afford a top-notch attorney, but our diaspora probably has one, but we don't know about. You
Exactly.
know, or we might need some. Right now, COVID-19 is going on. You might have some specialist that is not that you might not know about just because that person isn't within your family or friend circle. And there are many cases of this where the diaspora can actually play an important role in the development of the country. And maybe as the government is looking for investors, the diaspora would probably offer you less venture kind of cutthroat capitalism that we're getting, because a lot of our investors that come in are cutthroat. I mean, I work with investors. I can tell you sometimes, not sometimes, it always boils down to the bottom line. Am I going to make money? If I'm not going to make money, what corners can I cut? It's not based on, oh, I love the country, I'm trying to develop the country. It's based on how can this benefit me? And if you don't have a strategic negotiator in the midst of that want, what's going to happen is that you're going to give up all your power, which we've done every single time,
Right.
because people are negotiating and they know that we are in a system where I just have to hand you some money and suddenly you're open to a deal. And that deal, 10, 15, 20 years later down the road, you find out that you're really getting screwed over because you didn't understand the complexities of what you're signing up for, you know? And these are things that can help us. And me and Arthur discussed this a little bit before. I feel like I'm running on, Arthur, sorry. But
It's all right.
when it comes to like the Jewish, the Israel, perfect example. You even how the Jews function here in the United States. They're a powerful group. Why are they a powerful group? They lend within their own communities. They're not lending their communities at commercial bank rates. They're lending their communities at affordable rates. They help build their community. We have examples of this in Belize. We have the Mennonites. They're working together as a community. They're Belizeans, yes, but to a certain extent, they are connected to the Mennonites in Canada, They're
And
connected
Germany.
to the Mennonites in the United States. So they have built within their own community a diaspora contact, a bridge that empowers them. Look at you go behind the Spanish lookout, you feel like you're in a completely different country.
Different place, yeah.
Right. Glennis?
Aria, um, being a devil advocate, to be quite honest, I think knowing that our government right now under UDP, I believe in my heart that they came under, they came to government under the help, or with the help, I should say, of the diaspora.
You're
It
right.
was the diaspora who was pushing them and helped to finance them and helped to um, bring them into power. However, I think one of the greatest problems that they now see is that the diaspora will call a spade, and they don't want that kind of influence where people are pointing out exactly where things are going wrong in the country, and so in order to shut them up, they delete them. And so I think that is where it is because of that reason. I think this present government is against having the diaspora as a part of its policies and having a say in government, because it's like the same mentality of slavery is that we wash away people who can think. We want the yes man to continue, and we are taking 3 steps backward in instead of trying to develop ourselves to become more viable as a country. And so ultimately what we're seeing, and I will agree that sometimes some of the people who are living outside of Belize are not always in tune, but you have some who know what is happening even before us who's living here, those Belizeans living in the country. So it depends on certain situation, but I do believe there is a fear of getting the diaspora involved, knowing that they will be called out on certain issues, and the issues that as Belizeans we may not be focused on, because I'll be honest, as Belizeans we are a little bit laid back. We don't look at things seriously, and we tend to leave things hanging. There's a problem now, and 2 days later we kind of forget. You live in
Well,
a society outside where these things pile up and you remember, you chronicle it, and things like that, and that's what they don't want.
Guys, could
well,
we take a quick break to have our audience be acknowledged and some of the comments that have been made be read so we know what our people are
I
saying
saying
out there?
yes.
Okay, so we have a good evening, Team Ata Saldiva from Raul Castillo. David Hernandez Henderson says good night, watching.
Good
Nigel
night.
Petts adds good guys locked in. Nancy De
Beautiful.
Paz says blessed
Thank
night,
you.
everyone. Blessed night, Mr. Ata Saldiva.
Blessed.
Good night, Nancy.
Coleman Agustin says good night, Mr. Art. Reggie Jack says good night to Ata. Facebook crew best in the country.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
And Victor Hernandez says, y'all looking great. Glenise Williams, welcome back. We're all locked in. And of course, there's a
Thank
few
you.
more well wishes and good night for the evening.
I ask you all
Thanks
to
a lot.
share and continue sharing the program. We want as much participation as possible. This is a very important topic. Let me remind you what the topic is: sustainable socio-economic development. Can it happen without an open door policy to the diaspora? Can it be attained without that? My personal view, I believe most already know it, and I'm not ashamed to say it. It certainly cannot. I think it is high time for an expansion of the Senate to allow for a member of the diaspora to have a permanent seat on the Senate, to give us a chance to have that bridge that Aria spoke about, a real bridge, not some metaphorical one that is only leaned upon at times of convenience, but one that is always there to help to direct the development of Belize and to give us a voice that comes from a place of exposure and learning, as as opposed to one that comes from some dogmatic, partisan, limited view. I will jump off my soapbox and leave it to to Aria.
I want to address what Dennis said, and she's very right. I mean, you have to think that back in the 60s and 70s, and even 80s, 90s, there was no Facebook, there was no social media, and so we could have a relationship with the diaspora easily because guess what? You guys technically can't participate anyway. So it was like a more distant relationship. It's like a long distance relationship. But with the advent of social media, now they realize, well, this relationship is changing. And now we can communicate. Look at us right now. We can, I mean, once upon a time, with me and my brother were just talking about it. When we used to call people from the States, we used to count the minutes. And then you used to call the telephone company for confirm how much minutes you depend on call. And you hurry say hello, love you, blah, 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 and you hurry get off your phone. That was the relationship. And so the relationship with the diaspora remained in a kind of elitist format, where only the ones who could afford to travel and the ones who could afford certain luxuries were able to fly in and fly out and have this relationship. Now, anybody can contribute. Anybody can jump on and have an opinion. And we've seen it. We've seen mega battles going on. And I talked to different people, and somebody said that one of the reasons are Belize is a very privilege-based society. We might not want to admit it, but it's true. We are very privilege-based. We look up, we call the politician boss man. When we are the boss, they're not the boss, but we call them boss man. We cuss you up behind their back, and the minute they show up with a smile and a grin, and we tell them everything they want to hear.
Yeah.
You know, and that is the relationship that they have. They have a very skewed version of what democracy and leadership is, because we have allowed them to be that way. We have not questioned and held them accountable and asked the tough question, where to do it, my tax money. We haven't had that conversation. So now,
Aria and Dennis, you had mentioned prior, Aria, the issue of the ICJ and the issue of the Guatemalan claim in terms of Guatemalans being given more rights in Belize than even Belizeans, and certainly more rights than Belizeans in the diaspora. I don't know how much you guys have examined the issue of the diaspora as it relates to Israel, for example, which was, I believe, the first country that dealt with the diaspora in an extensive way. In fact, before 1948, all Israelis lived in the diaspora as a matter of necessity. They didn't have a country of their own.
right.
So in 1948, when the state of Israel was formed out of Palestine, there was this policy that basically recognized all the international Jews, international Jews that were spread all over the world, and basically were encouraging them to come into the state of Israel. Now, the funny thing about it is that there was this feeling of patriotism and connection with the state, and there was this belief that everyone would have jumped at the opportunity to come to that particular part of the world where the state was created to be a part of the homeland, but it didn't really pan out that way. What did pan out, however, and I think what is certainly noteworthy for us, is that without the diaspora, Israel could not have won the Six-Day War, which was waged with Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and Syria. All those countries wanting to see the end of Israel. It was the Israeli diaspora, by virtue of their connection to the United States and other countries, that were able to get these old aircrafts and get those aircrafts to Israel so that they could have actually effectively fight a war in the air. Without the Israeli Air Force, the Six-Day War would not have ended the way it did. It may have ended within 2 days of Israel's defeat. But the Israeli diaspora played a pivotal role in that. We don't see our diaspora in the same way, but we certainly can engender that kind of support from our people abroad, can't we?
Of course, like for example, going back to Israel, they're a very powerful lobby group also, and therefore it's one of the only official. In fact, I think it's the only country that the United States officially recognizes for dual citizenship. Even
Yes.
though they don't technically discourage it, they officially recognizes Israel. And as you will notice, without the United States, Israel probably would not survive
Not.
that environment. So they are powerful. They're not only powerful in 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 government, they're powerful in media, and they're powerful in telling their stories and moving their agenda along because they work as a group. They work as a cohesive group. They do have a belief that if, and I'll use a perfect example within the, and I've heard this from a very good friend who is Jewish. Within the community, if you have a business that's failing, they're going to refer your business to a business expert that's going to come into your
Wow.
business and it's going to examine your books and everything and it's going to help you to rebuild your business. I think there was some reality show that was similar to that, but that's something that they do. They lend within their communities at 1 to 2% interest rate for mortgages. So when you
Right.
think the community of the Jewish people, they are one of the most successful immigrant groups that have come to the United States because of their cohesiveness. They are supportive of each other. They educate, that's the other thing, they educate their own children. You notice their children are attorneys and doctors and all these high level positions. And even within the investment community, they're great investors. And that's what they do. Like I compare them to the Mennonites in Belize. You know, the Mennonites. Remember Arthur, come on. When we made it grow up, the Mennonites used to come to Belmopan with
To
our
come street.
yes, with our heart and buggy,
Courage, yeah.
very primitive compared to the rest of Belize. Then the Mennonites then start to build slowly, but they were building. And now when you go back there, they're like you that are a small US state, one of the small US states in America, because they have developed their communities and their communities is not plagued with a lot of politics and nonsense. That
Mhm.
Belmopan used to be. You remember Belmopan? We used to have one wee area,
One
right?
love.
And then
Hmm.
you had one week on there when they make sure everybody had cut and things were and Belmopan may look nice.
Oh yes.
I got a Belmopan this Christmas and the bloody bush they go over the sidewalk. No light Saturday and I say go and cut the run through loan like the like in our jungle and I don't like what the heck
What is
happened?
this?
That would have never been in a system where politics not it just eat away at the soul of we country, just it affect us to the point of destruction. And we need for change the conversation. We need for develop and the diaspora can help these develop. They not
Beautiful.
crisis. We're in crisis right now, you know.
We are.
Exactly.
Think
But
about
A lot of people
on that note,
are not
guys,
seeing.
we must introduce tell our audience that we have a young lady who is keyed up and ready to be introduced. Her name is Giselle Pilgrim. She is an artist, I believe an artist. The show is we're seeking to put a spotlight on our local artists as well, part of the show. So she is up shortly.
They'll believe.
I think she's ready. So we'll say welcome to Giselle Pilgrim, and we'll be back to our conversation as soon as her presentation is done.
Thank you, Giselle.
So you guys can keep going for a little while. I think she may have had some issues. She's not up. She'll be back.
Okay.
I'm hoping. So we
All
can
right.
introduce her.
okay.
All right. Yeah,
Well,
but Arthur, the thing is, as far as we're concerned, we need to start to look at Belize in a different light and stop taking things too lightly. We have to honestly recognize the economic problems that we are facing. And one of the things we also have to acknowledge, many of our older people who left Belize in search of work and stuff like that has gone back and are sending money every month, every week. You see the lines at the
$80
Western
million
Union.
worth a year, Glenn. $80 million worth a year. That's what the
Wait,
diaspora.
And so
let,
if
let
they
me
are not important.
let me
Hi,
say.
Giselle. Giselle is ready.
Okay.
All right.
Beautiful. Let's get out the way. Take it away.
Hi, good night. This is Giselle coming in live and direct here on the show for you guys with your musical entertainment for tonight. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about myself before I start the show. I hail from beautiful Borough Broom Village. Originally grew up on the George Price Highway, 13 miles. That's a large settlement that we have there. The first song that I'm going to bring here to you is one of my first singles. It's a dancehall single. This is one that hit in Peru. The Empowering Queens dancehall group featured this song on their video entrance into the International Dancehall Queen competition. So this has actually gotten a number of plays. It was produced by Julio Lujan. Personally, you have to make no every hot gal out a road, you give it. Ex-girlfriend say you see me, me. Well, me not play then the game, they see me. Yo, babe, check and balance. Me name woman and you claim you're a man. You got the matambo, I got my sapang. Welcome if you grind to the beat of the song. Fling it up, time the rotation. Beat it like you're in a station. And if you're serious, understand real bad girls, laying out them out again. You're that two need a good black one. If you go beach, make sure you care some. And if the day ever come when you think you could be play, oh, what's a bam bam bam, baby. I love to party. And if you're right here, ready for your wife, I go come meet you shortly. Cause I want somebody. Keep from ram pam pam, so tell me that you are my new husband, take me down. Yo, old firewood. Connect me like a switch to a circuit. I think a second chance for worth it. Every position of a impact is me body intact, and every second's worth it. Got a little thing there where you do keeps me running right back to you. Every party turn up, say we want it up, electric like we lighting up. Can't stop the way you love it, run up on me. Can't stop the way you love it, run up on me. Can't stop the way you love it, turn up on me. Turn up on me. Can't stop the way you love it, run up on me. Can't stop the way you love it, connect on me. Can't stop the way you love it, turn up on me. Turn up on me. Look, connect to socket. Slowly insert into the pocket. Physical phenomenon, good I never forgot it. Can make the root girl wine create static. Why get me good, why get me good? Wine on me, take a wine on me. Come in body firm, on my body good. Wine on me, take a wine on me. Can't stop the way you love it, run up on me. Can't stop the way you love it, connect on me. Can't stop the way you love it, turn up on me. Turn up on me. This one is a new one. First time premiering here. Giselle coming down on the track again. Put beliefs down on the map again. Swear say nothing go home with your wife, but me and your next girl know said I lie that. About say nothing go right with your life, but pick up a next girl, stop body up, you try that. You give the sweetest loving, that's why they girl they run you down. But I am the realest you're running to. Why you take bad girl fi clung? What you a do when I stop take back chat? Pick up on you and lock up shop. Baby, you take me for idiot. So decline your number when you call and go block that. So if you do call me no own you, can't put a big man down on a curfew. Cheat the game, so I have to hit what you hurt you. No man fi bend over, give action too. Me could sit at the lies and a lie and they try come sell me, oh. Me could sit at the way and they try come give me, oh. Yeah, you want me and make me, you used to turn me off. All the trick on me, baby, it turn me off. You know the worst of me to get the best of me. No other test in me when you do. Gotta invest in me and nothing less you see. Because I'm done being the one used man. Let's off the fine wine days. No one put tea, no one pick up. Hey, to get through what they have to vex for. To get the worst of me before the best of me. No other test in me when you do. Gotta invest in me, ain't nothing less you see, because I'm done being the one you use. All right. That one was entitled Lies. That's the newest single from me. You could find that on my Facebook channel. That will be premiering next week, Tuesday in the morning. My other two singles.
Wonderful.
Wait,
Thank you. So beautiful.
didn't know you could sing, Giselle.
Me on
Beautiful. Beautiful. Bravo.
YouTube.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats.
I wish I could have graced you guys with some more entertainment and a better quality entertainment tonight, but it was on short notice.
As
So
we go forward, we'll improve, and certainly we will welcome you back with open arms, Giselle. You are wonderful.
wonderful, and I'll be back. Okay.
Are you going to be in the musical show coming up this month in Belize? My audience said Jex wants to know.
Unfortunately, not. Maybe someone can get in contact with the producers or the promoters
Man,
of that show. I could try to see if.
Now we got to fix that. We got to find out who is responsible for this show, because Giselle got to be there.
That's right. I'd like to thank you guys for having me.
Thank you, Giselle.
Us more information, we can pass it on.
Yes, you can find me on Facebook. That would be Giselle Pilgrim on Facebook. I'll be posting link to my page on Facebook and Instagram. You could follow me on Instagram, GISSYPBZ501. That's GISSYPBZ 5.501 on Instagram. You could find me on YouTube also. You could just look up Giselle Pilgrim and you'll be able to find me. You subscribe to my YouTube.
World-class talent right here at home. World-class talent. And she is putting her talent on display for Belizeans at home and abroad, because Belizeans, no matter where you are, we appreciate talent.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
What I could do in the country and how I could represent you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. That was beautiful.
I didn't know she could sing. I didn't know she could sing.
Well, man, she did wonderful.
Now we know.
Very much. Lyrical content was there. You know, the style, poise.
She sounds great. There's no doubt she can definitely sing.
So yes,
You audition your artist then before you're playing here, just to go. You take one faith jump.
Leap of faith.
Okay.
Leap of faith. We have to have faith in our Belizeans.
I do, trust me.
Listen, I'm telling you, listen, I have heard about her, and I had the good fortune to speak with her, and I was told, because I didn't hear the song that was featured in Peru until she sung it there, but I was told that, listen, this young lady does such quality work that her work is being sampled abroad, and
oh, nice.
Listen,
very nice.
I was impressed, so I had to speak with her, and she was so gracious to come on and do this for us, and I'm thankful. Right. And hopefully I can do more to expose her talent, and hopefully she takes off. And this is what I want to do. I want to give Belizean artists every opportunity to expose their talent, and let's see where it can go, because
especially
we're no different than anybody else, I mean,
right.
we can do anything that anybody else can do. The Mexicans, the Puerto Ricans, they have nothing on us. All we need is the opportunity. Give a Belizean the opportunity, and the Belizean will excel. I agree. Don't care where we are.
It seems to me, Arthur, just to segue off that when Belizeans go abroad, given the same level of talent with the education that they get in Belize, they do well abroad. I don't know if you saw during the COVID-19, there was this young lady that Channel 5 had interviewed. She was a worker at the post office and she went to the United States. She became a nurse. She's working now on her nurse practitioner, which is really a high level of nursing in the US.
Yes.
And she was at the forefront. And these are dreams that a lot of Belizeans realize is that we don't give opportunity to. I mean, look at this. Remember growing up, we used to get Puff and Tech scholarship and we used to
Yeah.
have competitive. I know we get a lot of scholarships now from Taiwan and different places. Well, how about just our competitive level alone? Are we still doing that? I don't know.
we,
Um,
s- we, we still have the scholarships, but in terms of the competitive level, it's not there. It's it's a political perk.
and that's why our country is the way it is because you have all these. For example, I can't remember what I was watching or reading, but they were talking about like a country, for example, it wasn't Belize, but it's comparable to Belize that had a young population. And part of the problem when you have a young population and you don't have anything for this young population to do, you're going to have problems. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
like in the United States, and I always give people this story. When I did political science, I had the opportunity, if I could have afforded it, to go to Congress for 6 weeks, and they would have
Nice.
just assign you to a congressperson, and you were going to intern with that person for 6 weeks, and it didn't matter what your political background is. It didn't matter if you're
Affiliation.
Right.
Republican or Democrat, but they have people. They're preparing their young people already for leadership. Why can't we do that in Belize? We have a House of Representative. I know we did the Congress with the kids where the kids they were in the House of Representative, but they have to extend it more. You have to prepare people for leadership because we're not going to be here forever. So you want the
Right.
next generation to be prepared to take over. Um, we have young people that are idle, and that's why we have crime the way it is. Idle minds are devil's workshop. We really should be doing some job corps. We should probably get them into carpenting, mason work. I mean, we have these Mennonites that are building homes that are relatively cheap. I mean, and we should be trying to get people to intern to teach them these young people and then the entertainment. All our young people are doing is drinking and smoking. That's our entertainment. We don't have any parks that we can go to and play. Like play, when I say play, I mean we have beaches, but here if you go to the beach, there's these big slides and there's a lot of things for young teenagers to do that kind of keep them occupied, and then they're involved in all these different activities. Listen, everybody else can enjoy Belize, but you
Yeah.
have people come to Belize. When I got into Belize, 1 year, my brother took me on a hash. I don't like what the heck now a hash. Never hear about it while my whole life growing up in Belize. And then coming back to Belize now, the British, they have a monthly hash where they go run the new area and they hang out afterwards and they basically have fun. And the different things where other people come here and they do kayaking and canoeing and all kind of stuff where we do as Belizeans living in Belize. And then I think that the land ownership thing is big.
I
Um,
know.
the problem is that if you do not have, that was part of the reading to talking about communist societies. When you have a population that doesn't have ownership in their homeland, there is no reason for them to stay and build it. And that's why you have the exodus because you have your people that don't have anything to do. And there's other things that they could be doing for help build the country. They could have, like I told somebody, Belize have so much land that just on a mathematical level, every citizen that Belize could get 14 acres of land. We know all of them are not sustainable. We know it's all protected and stuff. But that is how much land and how little bit of people we have. So for make you they in our country and you have thousands, well, good portion of your population where cannot own land, and when you the drive between Belmopan and Belize, they all where you the sit land. Not that all where
Right.
you sit land, and then you end up the Belize city, and then people they lift up at each other. I mean, we
Right.
have to start to demand quality living and quality care and quality health. And to me, I ask for the thing, Arthur, and I get bullied online. like, Aria, you to try run for election? Why? Because I ask that we have one standard.
But it's what we were used to growing up, Aria, and this is one of the it's one of the blessings and the curse of growing up in Belmopan. The blessing was that we had so much space that we were able to be free to think, be free to enjoy nature, to be free to enjoy people, and have relationships, real relationships with people that were not tense.
Right.
And it's a curse because when you go to other parts of the country and
We
you
want
see the
to do the
congestion and the conditions within which people were living, you were like, you know. So they used to always say that Belmopan was boring. Not for
I
us
remember
living in
we did a bush.
Yeah, not for us. You understand? Belmopan was the best place to be as a child growing up. I mean, I feel sorry for the kids, my kids, right now, because they don't have the experience I did.
Right.
When Belmopan we had no fences. We could have go into any yard and just the entire place was our playground. And if you were out at 12 o'clock and somebody's pot was on and you could smell that food, you go there, you will get fed. I mean, that was the life we had in Belmopan. People weren't selfish. People looked out for each other. Kids were safe all over, no matter where you were.
Right.
But now we are in 2020 when things were supposed to progress and even get better. In Belmopan, we have the congestion in the peripheral areas like Las Flores, San Martin, La Ribera. The congestion it's not indicative of what we knew growing up in Belmopan, a city that was built on a master plan. So there have been regression instead of progress.
And more people are building and
exactly
not adhering to any code.
because here's the thing. It seems to me that the policy of successive administrations have led to people leaving the country and expanding the diaspora. So the governance of the country, in terms of limiting opportunities to only those who are connected to the politicians, have caused so many people to be disenfranchised and disillusioned. And then they leave to find a better life elsewhere. Now, as soon as they leave because of these bad policies, then they are looked down upon as if, oh, you couldn't take it. You know, you couldn't stick it out.
After what it is, it's power. It's about power and control. You have to control your masses if you're not providing for your masses. So one of the things are your car, and I know this. I heard this before from politicians. There's a recording that I heard one time with a politician saying that, listen, if you go Guinea people saw land, next thing you know they are war house, next thing you know they are war this. So think about
that.
Think about that statement. Think about a statement that you are elected to develop their people, but the minute that the person wants to be developed, then they tell you, well, your expectations will grow. Like you're not supposed. If I do what for you,
you don't have expectations.
We heard a version of that from Doug Singh recently.
Well, right? think about that.
We heard a version of it from Doug Singh recently.
But I think it's a general mindset. I just don't think he expressed it. Yes. But I think it's a general mindset that if I develop you, no, I want to control you, because ultimately that want control issue. If I educate you, you know, and you know owe me, for example, if I make education where everybody can have access to it, now I can't control you because it didn't come directly from me. It's the fact that, you know, right now there are politicians hate Facebook to the point where Chester the monetize.
Exactly.
You know it. I mean, it's so ridiculous. Facebook have 2 billion people. It is estimated that 80,000 are in a Belizean or affiliated or have been to Belize.
Well, not only that, Aria. My guest, I had my esteemed friend Clinton Lightburn on the show recently, and right after the show, days after, my friend was shaken down by the police.
Yeah.
Shaken down. You understand? I
But
mean,
that
these things
that
cannot be
fear.
tolerated. This is not the way you operate in a
That's
free
sad.
and democratic society.
But Arthur, you understand? I would like him to Google Belize for one day. Go for go for YouTube. Facebook is not the only social platform that exists. People are talking about Belize and politics and stuff in all different type of forums. So for make you to try police people because your perception is influenced, it says a lot about how our leaders are thinking. That, like, I don't have time for the solve crime. I got time for the critics. And when you are in a position of power, you should expect a little of criticism. You should
Right.
expect,
Because it should help you to grow.
but you should expect it. I mean, it's not something
Yeah,
that
no, but I'm saying they don't want you to criticize, and people don't understand that criticism is something that is good because it should allow you, the individual, to want to be better and try to fix. Because sometimes, as human beings, we do make mistakes, but if
but
we are able to confront it, they don't want to confront it.
but
They don't want to make themselves better.
you know what? That the most important part of a democracy, the most important part of a democracy is dissent.
Yeah.
Even the courts have it. Even the courts, when they're doing a decision with multiple judges, you have one judge will give a completely different opinion than the
Mhm.
mainstream. Dissent important for make your economy grow or your country grow because everybody will never agree. Everybody can't like you. Everybody and never have your perspective in our life. All are we right now, they live one life where we to see things through our own angle. All of we have different experiences. All of we had different parents. We had different upbringing. So we all see life at different angles. And you should welcome it because when if the only me and Arthur talk all day, right? And I feed into Arthur and I say, yes, Arthur, that's a great idea. Arthur, that's a Glennis, you know what? That's a beautiful idea. And somebody not come and say, listen, Arthur, that idea dumb. You would have never stopped for think, listen, make I step back
Try again.
and consider all their different angles.
Right.
Hmm.
But if you would punish everybody when they tell you something where you don't want to hear, you just set up your own demise and you see it happening right now. You see
Oh
that
yeah.
then they spend a lot of time to bully people and they try control a narrative that like the half sun gun and they try close the fence. You just can't. You have to go. You have to welcome in the set. You have to sit down there and believe in a mediation. Everything don't have to be a fight. Everything like this I was saying today. This Nigel pet stuff don't have to be one fight.
Right.
Government got land. Government could go buy back land for people and just say, listen, you know what, the drama, make we come to a solution where we dey try create opportunities for people. And then you know what, that noise get calmed down. But that's not how governments operate in Belize. It turns into a big, ridiculous, long going fight where you have to be drawn out and then you end up have to do something for the people because you dey talk about 1,000 voters, you
David
know,
David
for
Henderson David Henderson has a comment that he has made that you must understand the politician always want to be in control, and the only way they can achieve that is to keep the people ignorant, poor, and always dependent.
True.
This
but
is, I mean, and it goes for both political parties. In the last 39 years of Belize's existence, they have not given the Belizean people objectively the opportunities necessary to advance. And it's sad because Belize is in a strategically important position geographically. It is not a difficult country to make prosperous. And with prosperity, we can have a better life for everybody in Belize. All it takes really is for them to open the economy, give the private sector more control, let the people who employ people have a say in how the country develops, as opposed to having a top-down strategy where the government dictates all the time. We were talking last week with Zenaida Moya about the economy. And one of the things that was being highlighted was the plight of the farmers in Belize. And all Belizean farmers, whether they be Mennonite, whether they be melanated like myself, or reigning from the north as mestizo, they've all been hardworking, industrious people, producing onions, sweet peppers, pineapples, you name it. But whenever we have production in Belize, it doesn't stop the politician from giving some crony an import license to go and get cheaper goods from outside, undermining the farmers at home, basically discouraging production. And now here we have it, that as a result of that kind of policy, our food security is in jeopardy. And we wouldn't have known how bad we had it not been for the coronavirus, which exposed everything.
But
Exactly how weak we are as it relates to food security.
the problem with cronyism and the problem with spoil system is that no matter what you have the best there. Medicine, for example, why we have to have an AG, whether our attorney, but why we minister health and our doctor? I mean, that makes no sense. That one medical degree is a higher, more distinguished degree than one attorney, but we have to have an attorney as AG. But anybody could be a medical. That's a craziness. And you wonder why the hospitals they fall apart, because how can you understand the needs of a specialty that you have no expertise in?
But not only that, Aria. My erstwhile cousin, who is a master's in economics, recently has exposed that he remembers some of the lessons he learned at university. But for the past 12 years, they had him at national security. I mean, really? I mean, why wasn't that man at economic development all this while? So it seems to me that these guys, they really and truly don't understand what governance is all about.
But that's part of the problem. They understand what governance, and the part of a we fault. Because the minute you start to raise an issue, we have been said, girl, you know what? Don't make too much noise, because my job is going to be affected, or another get this piece of land, or another get this scholarship, or another get something. And then we know they know a situation where the prime minister they talk about borrow a way out of coronavirus. That can't be. I don't know what economist, or you cannot borrow your way out of our crisis. You have to come up with one developmental plan that's going to fix it. And guess what? I said it more than once, and I know people don't want to hear it. If they open the airport tomorrow, tourism is not coming back.
No, it's not.
Exactly.
25% of Americans lost their jobs. 25%. That's now a very high number of Americans will lose their jobs. Not only that.
Here's the other thing, Aria. It's a funny deal, right? Because somebody sent me the article and the little presentation that the Aria for Belmopanese put up, And I will say that some of the things are, yes, they're plausible. Most of which I believe he took almost verbatim from a plan that I put out some almost 10 years ago.
Well, they're probably not a family business.
But you never give it credit, that's the bad part.
But and just to address your cousin, for example, a very intelligent guy. You and I know this. We all grew up in Belmopanese. Why him to run wrong with a bunch of idiots is beyond me. Because if he had a right team around him, he would have been a very successful person. But when you have people who just stroke your ego, I know they tell you that you need to fear.
Aria, they say in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. The man wants to be king so bad. Put himself around.
But Aria, there is something I need to bring to light though. Talking about our economy. A lot of times what we do things like under the shady deal where we pretend to promote certain things, but we have, because they're getting money, they're doing a lot of things undercover, and because it is not something where we are transparent, we are not able to get them to see where we're going wrong. I went to Brody's this last weekend, and I usually go around, I'll just go watch. And besides the area where there is the honey display of the different Belizean honey, I found this.
Turn it, guys, turn it. Man, the way that thing look like a weed leaf.
Oh yes, man. This is being sold in Brody's.
Is it real though? I mean, is it real or is that just the name? What are the ingredients?
No, it is. It is real.
What
It's
you to
hemp
do with
oil.
it? What you to do with it?
Yet, so I don't know if you know if that thing real.
What you to do with it, Dennis?
I got bite because I couldn't believe that we are producing this in Belize while we are claiming that marijuana is illegal. And they try to put this properly, and they give you the whole write-up and the whole. This paper comes with it.
Wow, who read that? Everybody read that?
This is the write-up that is sticked on to this. It came like this, properly folded up, and it stick to the back, right? Being a product of Chunush, Belize.
But my question is it really hemp though? I mean, is it just?
Well, I know you open it because, but I won't be able to tell you.
Ask Christopher Curtin at the crime lab.
But it claims to be from a certain seed of marijuana,
yeah,
from a food grade cold compress. And I'm like,
well, listen. All fun and joke aside, the thing about it is this, right? Hemp is one of the most nutritious source of protein, the hemp seed, right? And in terms of the industry itself in the United States, man, it amounts for more than $16 billion. And there's a projection that by 2024, it'll be up to $34 billion. So
let's not even, what we produce right now? Coconut. You know how much I have to pay for coconut oil of damn America? I pay for a small bottle of coconut oil and they charge 11 to 15 US for a new bottle. Okay?
Right.
That's what we done. We don't have to wait for government legalize that. We don't produce it. And what would they do with it? All what we do that cut it open and drink water and throw anything.
Well, the thing about it, Aria, there are not many organized coconut groves anymore. Coconut was one of the most important crops in Belize between the 1960s to the early 1980s. I mean, a lot of people remember the song where did Captain Foot money gone? Captain Foot was the broker, the coconut broker in Belize City who had a huge shed. And what they used to do there is that the coconut used to be stored and then it basically it coagulated and got rancid. That's the copra. And that is what they used to put in soaps and lotions and shampoos. And Belize was a big part of that, you see. So the thing about it is this. We know that the coconut industry is a viable industry. It made millionaires of many Belizeans, including Isaiah Marta. But hemp is also there and can be utilized the same way, right? The thing about hemp, Ariana, one of the things I want people to understand, hemp can grow in any soil. We have a lot of places in Belize like Pine Ridge land where you don't find anything growing, but hemp can grow there. In fact, hemp grows in the desert. And not only does it grow, it replenishes the soil because it takes heavy metal out of the soil. So if you plant hemp, you can put another cash crop in there afterwards and it will grow even better. So,
well, listen, one row of hemp in California, that 30,000 US a row. Yeah. 30 a row, like you have all these rows of plants. 30,000 US a row.
I didn't know we're producing in Belize and we're growing, but I said if I just come and tell them that it is there now on the shelves.
We don't know who have that license. We need to know who is doing it in Chunush.
Yes.
And
Well,
how the
well,
license
Glennis,
was achieved.
So guys,
Glennis, I made a joke with you just now, and I get scolded that I'm too opinionated.
yes, I want to share that
Really?
and make certain that Aria gets to her opportunity to respond.
I'm
Go
like,
ahead, Aria. What was
I,
it?
I'm only kidding with Glennis. Glennis knows that I'm kidding with her.
I
I
know.
mean, wow. Okay.
I just had to put that one in tonight. I said, "Oh my God," because it gives you so many things. There's a write up there. They don't give you an address or anything, you know. They give you a hotmail and some phone numbers. Um, but I was amazed. I was amazed, but I'm hoping because I want to find out who has this thing. I'm hoping it's a Belizean and not a foreigner.
But the thing is, I want to know, I mean, can we grow hemp? That's not the question.
Well,
Arthur.
it
Can
looks
we?
so that somebody got permission.
Well,
We don't
Well,
maybe.
know.
I know that there was some talk that there was a businessman up in Placencia who was given a license, but I didn't realize that one was already given up north. But it stands to reason that one will be given up north. We know that there are certain powerful political figures down up north.
But you
In fact, I
understand.
think on both sides, the hemp is very popular up north.
But you
Up
understand the value of land now, right? You understand the value of land.
north.
Yes.
There are big chunks of land because there'll
And
be
yes,
excellent
Oh, it's
places
like
to
what you
be
said. I
growing.
mean,
in the middle of the
$30,000 a
jungle, we're
row
having something
for hemp.
happening.
Right, right.
You know how many rows you can put in an acre? Right? You know how many
Thirty
rows you can put in an acre?
thousand, 30,000 an acre a row. That's how it is in the US. And then by the
Yeah,
time you produce it, that are just at the raw level.
right.
That are not at the production level. So by the time
Right.
you produce that into other things, that become a multi-million-dollar industry.
CBD oil, hemp seed for nutritious, you know. There's
Right.
so many things you could do. Cloth, rope,
It's
so many things.
happening. It's just that we don't
Plastics.
know.
In fact, I didn't know this, but I just learned recently that the diesel engine, when it was originally created by the fellow diesel, was created to be run on fuel, on hemp fuel. So hemp was
Wow.
actually the source of the fuel for the diesel engine. Now that was changed into, you know, a petroleum-based product, but with what's going on now in the world, we may have to resort to hemp, and hemp is cheaper to grow than switchgrass and cane.
And think about the cloth and the clothes and the different stuff
Yes,
that the possibilities are ridiculously endless. And
but we didn't. This show is not about hemp. This,
right.
this show is not about. You see, Glennis,
No, it's
Glennis will
about the
get,
economy.
hey, Glennis will get
this
scolded
show.
this week, and you, Glennis, will get scolded. I get scolded.
Oh
This show is
boy.
about the sustainable
Oh,
economic
Ariel.
project of development if it can be attained without an open door policy for the diaspora.
Right. Well, I think that it is, for example, even when it comes to money and access to foreign exchange and maybe even building small cooperatives, you could get the help because there are people that are willing to invest. I know they are. I've had people reach out to me because I'm a licensed realtor, even though technically in a practice, I work with a bunch of investors. But um, you could they have people in the diaspora that wants to do something, but they
Yeah,
want it to be organized. They want to have one project in mind. They want one plan. And a lot of people know what have to deal with the politics and they haven't
right.
greased one politician hand. They just want one policy, one procedure. This is the way I apply, and get the ball rolling without the red tape. And
Right.
that I think part of the bridge where could bring in some viable investments
Mhm.
into the country where you could have people when I have to jump through hoops and have to pay favorites with some party or the other. And maybe we could get some real money and not money that is based on venture type capitalism where
Right.
they come in and all I want to do is make money, cut bottom line, I pay people. So slave wages, because some of their wages that people are paid are ridiculous. I don't know how people I believe live sometimes offered, and they're single mothers. You have to give them props.
Well, because what is going on, Aria, is that in terms of the investments that's coming in and investors, the mindset is that you are going to keep the Belizean labor and laborer at the level you find it. You're
Right.
not seeking to develop it, not seeking to have it grow with a business so that you can actually see wages increase and responsibilities increase. And it is incumbent on the leaders to change that, to stipulate where that would no longer be the case. Because, hey, in Singapore, this was what was done. Before any factory came into Singapore, they had to bring in training institutes. And those training institutes were where the Singaporeans who didn't have the particular skill to be applied in the factories had to go before the factory came to get those skills so that they could actually be plugged in to those factories and be effective. And once that was done, that was how they were able to advance within that system and grow. And this is one of the reasons why Singapore became successful, because it's a real partnership. We talk about a mixed economy in Belize, which should be perfect for a country with a large diaspora, because the mixed economy means that there's a partnership between the government and the private sector. And the private sector comes from inside and without. You have your gross domestic product and you have your gross national product. The gross national product has to do with that which is produced outside the country and that which is directed from outside the country. That's where the diaspora comes in. That's where that $80 million remittance comes in.
And it's practically more than 80 million, because they're not officially counting the boxes and stuff that are being sent in either. So there's and I think outside the remittances, how about the fact that with naval string buried, I believe, with family still at, I believe, with cousins, and with some people still have their parents, I believe. So we all have one interest in for make sure that with families they live safely, that they don't have to worry about desperation and stuff like that. If listen, and it was Singapore, by the way. I'm glad that you brought it up, because it was Singapore where the leader was talking about if the people don't have ownership in the country, they will never defend it.
Exactly.
The other thing that he also said, in Singapore, he wanted everybody to have a decent home to live in, so that they feel one love for their country that they were.
Right.
And he was so innovative that he took Singapore from a third world country, literally a third world post-colonial country, to a first world country.
But Aria, you want to
in the
know,
same amount of years we got independence.
You want to know the irony of all that? Lee Kuan Yew came to Jamaica in 1962. Singapore became independent in 1965. He took the William Arthur Lewis economic plan designed for Jamaica, implemented it in Singapore, and moved his country from third world to first in 30 years.
Yep.
That plan was designed for Jamaica by a Jamaican, William Arthur Lewis. He is the architect of the plan that Lee Kuan Yew implemented in Singapore.
Wow.
A lot of people don't know that.
You know one of the first thing he tackled when he became independent? Colonialism.
Yes.
He broke the chains of colonialism. He did not want to live, and because he was educated in England, a lot of people after they went to England, they understood in a more in-depth fashion of racism and classism, because it's very prevalent in the British system, that class system. So he came back with his education. He broke that chain of colonialism. He built up his people. He created self-esteem, because that's what it is.
That's what it is.
Look at children. All of us have kids, right? You have one child. When you have one child, you have to encourage that child. When that child not believing in itself, you have to believe in that kid. That's your job as a parent. And to me, that's the way we leaders supposed to do. They're supposed to build it up, to develop. We're not supposed to be at odds with our leaders.
Right. You are so correct. So correct. But yes, and I'm saying this because we have so many talented Belizeans from Belmopan living in the diaspora. so many talented Belizeans that I went to school with at SJC Sixth Form in the diaspora, doing great things, wanting to help develop Belize. In fact, I had the and I only mention first name. I had a I had a talk with Ellis, and you guys know who Ellis is. He's
Of
from
course.
Belmopanese.
He's my son's godfather.
Man, listen,
Wow.
Ellis is passionate about Belize.
Yeah,
Passionate.
upset that you're calling him
There's,
on the show too.
there's a there's a group of them, man. There's a group of them that get together all over the United States. You know, they go to each other's states and they spend time planning and trying to see how they can give back.
Right.
This coronavirus situation presents a very unique opportunity, and I hope that they're listening right now, especially Alyssa and Randall and Dorian and the rest of them. What this COVID-19 is going to be able to do now is to allow for distance learning on a different scale, where you're going to be having professors teaching remotely using technology as opposed to being inside the classroom. It's one of the opportunities that allows for the expansion of what is being offered at UB, so that UB can actually be a development university. Courses can be offered where our Belizeans abroad who have particular skills and training and are in particular professions like medicine, like engineering, like, you know, finance, can actually offer courses and teach Belizeans from where they are at home. I mean, if you do that, you can raise the level of thinking in Belize, you can raise the level of competency in Belize, and that is how we move Belize forward. We need our diaspora. Our diaspora is essential to our development.
And your diaspora needs Belize. The diaspora needs Belize. There's a lot of Belizeans over here that want to come home. And they're ready to retire. I think the number one concern that most Belizeans have when it comes to moving back is safety. That's a major issue. And that's why I think it's very important that we develop our youths. And I think we have to pick them up, put them in a jail. You know,
Exactly.
even when I was at prosecution, when I was in Belize, I had an issue with taking a child that was caught smoking weed and putting him in jail to criminalize him. He's a child. He's going to be mischievous. He's going to do things that are not right all the time. Why would you introduce him to the criminal element of life rather than introduce him to an alternative way of life? Maybe he can go fishing or go care up a farm or do something that develops him rather than, you know, kind of class her into a system that becomes a revolving door. And I think you're right. That's a great idea. I've mentioned it too, by the way, to one or two people before, and I even offered them the same way how me and you are talking online. You could teach on a class like this.
Yes.
And you could teach on a class and you could educate on a set of kids when I'm like, guess what? Tutoring might be one big help. I noticed some Harvard Belizean students started to offer some stuff, but think about it. The kids that really need it aren't going to benefit from it. So the question is that how you get the internet and the computer into an area that can take it to disadvantaged kids so that they too can benefit from online learning. The people that benefit from online learning, you could find out any course online, but that the kids never need, that we need for create centers where they could go get online and they don't have to burn their parents with internet fees and all that stuff there. That we need for create avenues for our kids. If we create avenues for our kids, you're not sitting at picnic, they get trouble, they idle. That's why idle minds, the older ones, they recruit the younger ones there, and then it becomes one. And I'll tell you as my perfect example. I'll put you up on blast.
Yeah, that's dope.
No, but think about it. I'll tell you, no, come on, and I'll put up on that much class. But look at you. Look, you grew up the Belmopan. You became a mischievous as a kid. But because you had a good family support and because you had a good community support, You turn wrong, you become gone back to school. You gone to St. John's, you're the president of the school. You gone to study at the United States to become an attorney. So you know an example of how people can change their life. And I think that we need more changers, like people where we don't look down pan. But we supposed to be look pan necessarily youths and say, you know what? I don't know how he make all the money off of drugs, but he want to be a good salesman. Make we see how we go
Exactly.
change the skill from
No,
the
Aria,
negative into positive.
Belmopan number one forward says that you need more light. The number one basketball forward for Belmopan say you need more light because you can't see your eye. Burn up. Tell Aria.
Guess what? I that's that they always tell me that that's how my eyes are. Okay.
Hi, Aria. Really, really, I. But at the end of the day, and I agree with you, Aria, because we had a system that it's not only because he had parents that care, but the whole community. You
Right.
could not do something, and people never they look out for you, and one, and it was such that we could have stand up and say, look, go back home, go do this, go do that, and then I was stand up back and be so vocal with you and tell you where to go.
Right.
So that's a change. I was telling somebody the other day who made a post who said Japan in Japan the first 4 years of a child's education is to teach them how to learn. They don't get graded. They don't get um, put into any groups or anything like that, but showing them manners, showing them what is expected of them in the society, and showing them the importance of education and independence.
Right.
Then you go into that educational formal system after that period of time, and I was one of them who commented, and I said we tend to want to grab on, and a lot of Belizeans just always think that some of the things that are Belizeans and that is Belizean is not something good,
Right.
and we change it, and we have lost some of the good things that are that have made us Belizean, and we adapt from places like the US, who come sometimes with some of the bogus things that we don't need.
Or experimental, then they test it. So
Mhm.
they
Right.
apply something when they not try. But I want to give one a story about Belmopan growing up. This is how much people may respect their parents. I remember I used to play basketball. I remember we all at the basketball court. And Mr. Waters, Water at the
Yes.
basketball court with me, right? Mr. Waters, they walk down the sidewalk. And Clive, call him this Clive, holla, you Mr. Waters, blah, blah, blah. The whole basketball court freeze and everybody run for the basketball court because nobody want for their
Yeah.
name affiliated with that and that go to for their parents. That know how much we may respect. We not even want our parents for here. We may the wrong anything will happen where we are getting in a trouble. And
Trouble.
parents used to tell each other because I get in a trouble. I'm in a tease Leanne one time. Miss Williams over here, me Miss Williams tell my mom and I don't like she don't like why you the tease Leanne and I don't like what? Where did you hear that from? But that's how it was and parents ever got to you or quarrel with you when you go
Mhm.
report on their kids, they come to you and then I like no they embarrass me out here. You know
Mhm.
they
Yes.
come to you and they were strict and that our community raising one child.
Right. So
And
to what
that's what we need that within small
we
community
have lost
where
we
they
have lost
fight.
quite a bit of that now, Aria. We need to get it back. But
Yeah.
allow me to say again to our audience, continue sharing the program. Let's take a little break to have the comments be read. And
Okay.
again, I'll ask our audience to share. Important topic, beautiful guests, informative.
So,
Over to you.
guys, we changed the platform the past few weeks, and we've got our first troll. I think he may be a troll or she may be a troll, but Ohad Muchi says, "You guys are a bunch of idiots.
Yes.
When you guys are not in power, you guys got good idea, smart, but when you guys win, you guys forget everything. Uno say, bunch of idiots.
Well, she's entitled to her opinion, and I don't run for politics, so I don't know which
Me
power she
neither.
has out. So.
But I
I
am,
ain't gonna run either.
But
I am.
Arthur,
But we
I
keep
guess
Arthur in
it's
check.
directing that at
I
me.
don't care about for any politics.
and Arthur know from my young, when we young, I keep Arthur in check. When we met at 6 part, right, Arthur? I am honest with him. I have never been somebody for hold back
No
who the
mince
heck I am.
words, yeah.
So
Certainly.
she's
And I would
entitled
have
to
it
her
no other way.
opinion. That's the
I
beauty
have
of
no other way.
democracy. She's
And
entitled to
this is what Belmopan produces. Belmopan produces people who can look at things objectively, even though we're friends. I mean, if my slip is hanging, my slip is hanging, and I'll be told, I'll be called out on it. I have friends like that. Shelburne is one of them. Michael, and we're strictly first names here. No last name. Kevin, Dodo. These guys, I mean, they were like that. I lost a good friend of mine recently, Mark, and
right.
still trying to cope with that. Mark and I were inseparable growing up, and
We remember.
No longer with us. But yes.
So Reggie Jex had, he suggested that you read the book Political Reform by Said Musa from 1997, and there was, a little bit of discussion in the comment section. Earl C. Ferguson says, no serious Belizean needs to read Said Musa's book. It's a work of fiction that he himself don't believe in. All Belizeans need to do is recall and research his regime. No gas, lighting, no, no, no.
Yep. Continue. More comments, please.
No comments from the panel. Okay.
No, it's not matter. No comments. I mean, at the end of the day, listen.
No, we want them to be heard, and we like Aria said a while ago. It is important, no matter what the comment is, and that's something we have always said. No matter what they have to say, we read it because that person has an entitlement to that particular opinion, and we can show them that yes, we respect their opinion. We will agree sometimes to disagree, and even with Arthur, there are sometimes when we both have different views, and I will say it, and he will put his view, and sometimes we can't say headway, we not agree to it, but that is why we are friends, because we are able to tell each other where we stand and how we see
we
things.
can be honest without fear, and that's the
Yes.
key. Be honest without fear, and it comes from a good place. That's no problem.
Awesome. So Angel Darling says, Arthur, do you know that they will soon turn off the Facebook and the internet? Remember this tonight.
I did not know
Is that Belize turning it off?
If they listen, they don't want to have civil unrest. They try that, there will be civil unrest in Belize.
I think so
Because
too.
all the restrictions that we have had as a result of this state of emergency, you take away Facebook and the internet, people will not be happy.
Well, I don't think they technically can, because you have so many international businesses that are in Belize that depend on the internet to do business. They have people that are working from home that live in Belize. I know a couple Belizeans that are working for U.S. companies here in the U.S. that are making money in Belize. So it's not even only an opinion thing. They would actually affect people financial ability, people ability to earn. So,
Yeah.
Right. She goes on to say that when will people protest against that letter stopping people from coming home? It's evil. And she is right. They're giving people tests that they know nothing about, or the evil outcome. And finally, Shel Swazo made a correction, and he's a guard, or was a guard. And he added, it's having vision and a solid foundation. True, Glenys?
Yeah, true. Um, but Aria, going back to the need for us to look at Belizeans as Belizeans and respecting, because when you are born someplace in our country, and you that's your country, and when I felt like they're trying to take it away from us. When for example, I said, what angered me even a couple weeks ago, when you had people from Guatemala who were able to enter Belize without being checked, and yet Belizeans couldn't come in.
Right.
It's a double standard, and then there was this comment where people said we have to be careful because of our we need to continue to have a collaboration with Guatemala. We don't
Yeah, shut
sacrifice
down.
our own Belizeans and kiss ass to someone else. That's not how our country should be built. This is something vitally wrong when we go down that particular road. We have to learn in order for us to show love, because our kids are seeing this. The love for our country is something that we show, that we can portray to them, that they can understand why we need to protect and preserve Belize, our beloved country. They
Well,
have to see.
part of that comes with owning part of your country. If
True.
you are owning a part of your country, you will defend the ground that it's on, your home, that your home,
Home.
that your shelter. If you own something like that, then you will defend it to with your life. If you don't own something, then you know feel the need, and I just feel like anybody can become a member of the diaspora for many different reasons. You could get a scholarship for the study. Um, you could have a natural disaster that pushes you out of your country for a while. You could have war, because we think that there are things not possible in Belize, but they are.
They
So when,
are.
when you are undermining citizens outside the country, you potentially undermine your own self, because you can become a member of that community at any given moment. You could get sick and need long term care. And, you know, um, and I'm glad that he shared that, Shelburne. I think it's bigger than a lack of organization. I think that we haven't really tried to organize the diaspora for so long, for decades, that it's now trying to bring back one very splintered group back into one vision. If we had kept that vision going from independence time, we would have probably been much further. But we got more and more divided. People moved on to their own things, and we have to find our common ground. Everybody is not into politics. Some people want to help medically. Some people want to
Right.
invest. Some people want to do different things. Everybody doesn't want to advocate for a better system per se. So what we were planning actually before COVID-19 hit, we were trying to plan a diaspora meeting in Belize this year for September.
Oh.
And we were kind of starting the discussions. We had a couple people involved, and COVID-19 kind of undo a lot of things for this year. So maybe it's something that we consider again for next year. And what it would just be like a showcase, almost like a something where we can
Yeah.
have the discussion at home.
Well, I don't know if Angel Darling is some kind of a prophet, but just after it was revealed that the internet was going on, I was off. So I'm
I
back
saw
now.
that.
I'm back.
Is
I
Angel
was
Dar
dwindling. I was
right?
dwindling somewhere in cyberspace looking for a home, but I'm back now.
Welcome
I'm
back.
back now.
Welcome back, the host.
Yes. Um,
Yeah.
Listen, one of the things that I think is essential is, as Shelburne has put out, organization of the diaspora, and not only in the United States, because a lot of people only view the diaspora as those living in the States. We
Right.
have in Germany, we have in the United
Inside.
Kingdom, we have in New Zealand, we have, literally almost all countries of the world, we
Ev-
have Belizeans living.
How about Mexico
And
and Guatemala? Right next door.
Mexico,
True.
I don't know about so much Guatemala, but anyway, I don't know.
Well,
I
well,
mean,
Us Colombians living in
what a,
Guatemala.
well, a lot of
we
them go
have
to school.
but we
You
have
know, so last
because
week,
no,
Patrick
listen,
Faber talk
if
about
there is one,
um
you see, you guys like pull me in a rabbit hole, yeah, but listen, here's the thing, you see, that Kaya West division, right? You have more than 60% of Kaya West voters coming from Melchor. So they are a
Well,
big part of the Belize diaspora that come every election year to vote.
what will happen now that
Win
the
the election.
borders are closed?
Man, I'm telling you. That's why I don't think that everybody going to get this early election that they're thinking they're going to get. It's going to be more likely in March next year.
they don't even have a leader, so
Yeah,
can't have one
yeah.
election without a leader.
No election
Nothing
right
must
now.
spring.
It ain't going to happen.
And then today with that new treasury note that came out, I beg to wonder where the hell we're going.
Well,
Well,
the question is, and I have to ask somebody who is a business expert, but the government is asking people to lend them money. That's what it really is, right? The question is, do they have the credibility where people are going to lend them money and depend that they will make interest off it 6 months from today? I mean, I don't know. I have to ask somebody like Irvin maybe what he thinks about this
yes.
treasury note because think about if you right now anyhow no come to me and I said that you know they go broke and you say, hey, give me this money and we done Malpago already. Give me this money and I will give you 6% interest. The question is, am I going to give up that money? I mean, that's some of the problems when you run a environment that's corruptive, that the credibility might not
which,
be there for attract the money that you want.
which also speaks to something that Miguel Casanova just put up just now. We had now, under the cover of darkness, 4 multi-million-dollar jets sold for less than $500,000 US. 4 for less than $500,000 US. Now, here we are with our economy in severe and dire
Shambles.
straits. We are heavily indebted and we are giving away assets like this. Man, they say when life serves you lemons, you make lemonade. But instead of serving lemonade, then guys are really and truly.
The
I
dash
don't understand what's
lemon.
going on. It's more like crackonomics here.
That I know what it is, Arthur, and I suspect the same way how they sell Keelan for 2,000 and then it turned into a millionaire dream where you go and resell it.
Mm-hmm.
Follow who will buy the Ford? Who the heck? Who will buy Ford jet? I mean, who needs
The
Ford jet?
source, the source of the jet.
But
Want him back.
that sounds like a middleman transaction where once again,
Yes.
it
The jets are going back from whence they came.
but
And
think
that's why
about
we need the UNCAP law.
but Arthur, think about this. This is how you transfer public assets into private hands. You
Yes.
sell the public asset at a fire sale, and then you sell the public asset, the private asset now at the market value. Every other country in the world, you go to jail for that. Every other country, if UNCAC was right now implemented, that would
Yes.
have been a transaction what somebody going to jail for. Because when you deal with
Right.
public assets, and it used to be the case in Belize, you had to tender a bid to the government
But
Exactly.
to buy public assets.
even with UNCAC, it will not make a difference. I'll tell you why in Belize. Because unlike Guatemala, Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, all these countries that are republics, their political parties are registered. So the politicians are held accountable by virtue of the registration of the political parties. In Belize, because in the
No.
1950s, when the parties were formed, and the 1960s, when the parties were formed, we were still a colony. It was against the sedition laws to register any entity whose express purpose was to end colonialism. You would go to jail. This was why Mr. Wilson was jailed.
Right.
So these parties are not registered. In 1981, when we became independent, that was supposed to have changed. But the lawyers in those parties recognized the benefit for them of keeping it the way it were, the VH Courtneys of the world, the Dean Lindos of the world knew that by not registering the party, they could get away with anything short of murder, and in some cases even murder.
Well, Arthur, Belize doesn't live in a bubble. I'll say that one thing.
Exactly.
We live in the international world, and we depend right now. Listen to me. I can't prove or any of this, but I suspect the reason why that money has been taken forever.
Careful.
So no, I think the reason why that money is taking forever to reach the government coffers, these international money, is because they know the level of corruption.
They've
I
been
don't,
told no. Aria, they've been told no.
but if you
They're not
read,
given any money.
but
They've been
Arthur, if
told no.
the rule of law index for 2020 has come out again, and Belize slid one, Belize, Belize gone down since 2019 for the rule of law. And these are international measurements that I am pretty sure quite soon you'll start to see lending get tied to some of their indexes.
Oh yes.
So I mean,
But we were in the basement before Aria, so where are we now? Under the basement?
after Belize, like I always said this, when we made it grow up, we never got tourism. And we made it survive in this country, okay? So to make you have convinced the whole world that the only way Belize could survive that tourism, that's absolute nonsense.
Wow.
Belize is our rich, poorly managed country. We are most the richest country in the Caribbean. We're just poorly managed.
Easily.
We were poorly managed. We have gold. We have wood where people may treat that like drugs. Where they go in at the jungle and then they try to ship it to China. We have one bountiful sea and one Libeta people. We have one ecosystem that the world wants to study. We have some of the most intelligent people in the world. We just have poor managers of our wealth, and that's what's going on. Everybody want to be king. Everybody wants to be the top of the ladder. But this is always my measurement for success, and I read it in a book. It says, just because I help pull you up doesn't mean it's going to pull me down. So
Right.
if you are going to help your country, helping your citizens, no one make you any less of a king. And who wants to live? You live in a neighborhood. Do you want to live next door to a shack? You are living in our mansion and they live next to a shack. You would like for your neighbors and your kids to be playing in an environment that everybody can enjoy. You know?
Oh yes. Ladies, again, you know what they say. Time flies when we're having fun. And
Wow. Oh,
we've been here
goodness.
for some time now.
And it's
Yes.
just good for me. After bedtime.
I can imagine. And I have to say thank you so very much, Aria, for taking time out and getting scolded because
I
of me.
know. I'm sorry, girl. I was kidding. People are all over the joke sometimes.
I didn't know that I am a junior school person that went to Dagriga afterwards. I was there. Yeah.
Most Belizean leaders see the diaspora as a threat. True.
That's true.
Because we cannot be controlled. True.
Exactly.
And people say what they have to say, like Aria, and who get vexed, get vexed.
Correct.
True. I like Aria, by the way. Me too.
Me too.
That time, and Shelburne might not want to admit this. I beat Shelburne in a basketball game once upon a time.
Man, no.
I'm just kidding. I am not kidding, but it's where Rebecca wins.
This is a good one. When the
Listen to me.
Belmopanese get
Shelburne gave
together.
that. I could tell you that right now. Because Shelburne had one of the best jump shots in Belize.
He was good.
Uh-huh.
He was excellent.
He was at 10.
Oh, we don't know. We don't know when the diaspora come back to visit. We have to have a basketball game.
Well,
Yeah, man.
Listen, he still play basketball. He not ref. He don't win already.
Well, guys, again, I'll say thank you so very much. Thank you to Giselle Pilgrim for her wonderful
Giselle, yeah.
entertainment during the interlude of the show. And thank you so very much, Aria, for gracing us with your presence and giving us your precious time.
And we know 2 hours later than our
and
time.
Our audience are grateful too.
Yeah. Thank you so very much.
You know, Glennis, we work in team inspiration. So get back on the thing.
No, I'm getting back on next week. I get back on the track.
Okay.
I'll get back on the track next week.
Guys,
I have to.
It was great hanging out.
Yes.
Thank you.